connect, as they say. So hello, everybody. My name's Justin Wilbur. I'm a resident of Ballarat for about 11 and a half years now. On the 17th of March, I had an idea that I floated on Facebook for an alternative to ANZAC Day services, given the COVID-19 restrictions and the cancellation of public gatherings. Sorry, excuse me, my dog's being noisy. On the morning of the 17th, I put the idea out on a Facebook group that we stand in our driveways, balconies, front yards or porches and light a candle to commemorate the ANZAC Day norm of a dawn service and to observe that minute of silence and pay respect to those who are or previously have served. The idea took off pretty quickly. In about 30 minutes on the Kindness Pandemic site, I received somewhere in the vicinity of 300 responses. So at 9 o'clock that morning, I rang ScoMo's office and the DVA, Minister for Veterans Affairs, Department of Defence, and anybody else who would take my call. I only reached switchboards, but I followed them up with emails, and at about 10 a.m., I received an email back from the Department of Defence saying that they liked the idea, and my original post on the other group had been deleted. So that was the impetus for me to create the Aussies and Kiwis for ANZAC's Facebook group. Within 24 hours, we had more than 30,000 members, and at the moment we're sitting at 230,000 members, or just shy of 230,000 members in a little over a month. We have more than 100 countries following the campaign, including a research team in Antarctica. They don't have a driveway to stand in, obviously, but they will be observing the dawn service with us. France has officially come on board, and all of our materials have been translated for the provinces of the original battlefields of World War I. And they're really excited and painting their windows and paying tribute to Australians and New Zealanders who fought for their freedoms. It's been a very humbling and a little bit overwhelming at times experience on the group, where we're seeing a lot of love, compassion and respect for the history. A lot of that history being taught more actively than just in a classroom, but being shared through first and second hand accounts of service with children and with the broader community. The idea was quite simply to commemorate ANZAC Day in a way that would pull all of our, pull our, just the dog playing with a toy, pull our communities back together. And after what I'm referring to as the toilet paper wars of 2020, I came up with this unique idea to, as I said, not just commemorate 105 years since the birth of ANZAC, but to try and bring our communities and our neighbourhoods together in such a way that people can feel that connection and still maintain those social distances that we're being, I'll say, encouraged to observe. It's been amazing. It really has been quite amazing. So on Saturday, what we're going to see around the world, the estimated reach is 30 million people now. And around the world in those 100 plus countries, of course, naturally, in Australia and New Zealand predominantly, we're going to see millions of people begin to listen to or observe on television the national service straight from the Australian War Memorial. And at 5 minutes to 6, people will be making their way into their driveways to listen to the recitation of the ode, the last post, a minute of silence, reveille, and the national anthem of either Australia or New Zealand, depending on their location. We have created a mobile application, and I can attempt to show it to you, but it tends not to show up very well on a camera. But the mobile application is fairly straightforward, fairly simple.
Which we'll see.
You can hear the ABC playing through it at the moment.
The second thing they left behind,
I'll turn the volume down on it, but you'll see that there's a candle there at 5:30 in the morning on Saturday, the 25th of April. That candle will light, and we'll hear the commencement of the service from the Australian War Memorial. At 5 minutes to 6, a message will replace the countdown that you may be able to see at the top there. It's disappeared on us. But there is a countdown there that is counting us down to 5:30, and that will be replaced with a message at 5 minutes to 6 that says, please proceed to your driveway. At 6 o'clock, as I said before, we'll hear those classic, those iconic components of the dawn service. The words "lest we forget" will appear there, and at the conclusion of the service, the candle will go out. Users will be able to turn it back on just by tapping the screen. Within the app, we have all of the standard helpline numbers for both Australia and New Zealand, and for people who are geographically pinned through their mobile phones outside of those countries, they'll be linked to a global directory that provides them with the help services that are available in their location. So that's just a bit of in my normal life, I work in or volunteer heavily in the suicide prevention sector, so that was an important inclusion for me. Naturally, it has all of the links to social media and being able to take selfies or photographs of the neighbourhood. And we found a lot of people have gotten quite crafty, creating poppies out of egg cartons and Coke bottles, the bottom of Coke bottles. They've painted those, and they're lighting candles and poppies and all manner of things in their front yard in a really respectful tribute to that 105 years of tradition. So I'm not sure if Lynn's with us or if she had any specific questions. I've kind of given you a high level idea. I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, great.
Because there's so much to touch on. Oh, sorry, you're breaking up a bit there.
Unfortunately, there's been an outage in this area, just where I am, and so my links to the internet computer have gone. But I've been able to join through the phone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. All right. So, we might take a couple of questions, and then I think what we might do is actually re-record this, Justin, so that we can do, sort of, just more awareness and support for you. Because I'm getting a lot of feedback from my phone at the moment. But I suppose I just want to ask you your personal story about why this was important for you to do such an unusual time, and really, if you hadn't idea from Ballarat gone viral nationally and, as you said, internationally, it would have been a quite different day. So it's just your personal connection to this.
Sure. My father's a Vietnam veteran. In fact, I have a prop. Children of Vietnam veteran. My father fought in the Vietnam War as a helicopter pilot for the US Army. In 1972, and it was a long time ago, I was born in Thailand, and I lived in Saigon, now known as Ho Chi Minh City, for the first 2 years of my life. Of course, I don't remember any of that. We moved to Australia in 1974, and for as long as I can remember, ANZAC Day dawn services have been a tradition of our family. When I was a young boy, there was perhaps a couple of hundred people at the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne, and I've watched that grow to tens and tens of thousands of people over the years, not just at the Shrine, but in every capital city and regional town and small rural town. These services have become greater in their attendance and reflection and commemoration from communities. So when the public gatherings were cancelled this year, I was understanding of the reasons why surrounding COVID, but I was a little bit angry. I was very upset. I refer to it as pivoting on the spot, not knowing what I was going to do. Because, as I said, ANZAC Day is an important day to me. It's a day to not just honour my father, but to honour veterans everywhere. I'm a dual US Australian citizen. So I don't just honour Australian soldiers. I honour soldiers and their families from all over the world. It is a very personal day for me, a day that has had some wonderful memories and some not so wonderful memories. My father was very traumatized by the war, as many veterans are, Vietnam veterans in particular. And when I was 15, he was part of the organising committee for the Welcome Home Vietnam Veteran March in 1988 that took place along St Kilda Road. I filmed that as part of my my school years as a film and television student, and it's just been a huge part of my life. Intergenerational trauma is also connected with veterans' children and the children of children, so the grandchildren of. There is intergenerational trauma is beginning to be acknowledged and identified in that space, not just in the space of Indigenous rights and history. So there's a number of reasons why it's very personal for me. It's a healing time for a lot of people, and it can be a triggering time for a number of vets as well. So what we've found with this concept is that a lot of veterans who can't attend services for those emotional reasons, as well as people who are geographically challenged or physically disabled, they're able to now participate, not just this year, but in future years. They'll be able to participate in a greater movement and feel connected to that ANZAC service in a way that makes them continue to feel safe in their own environment. And that's what I'm all about. I mean, the suicide prevention work I do, the strengthening of communities, that's really is my passion. And this was a bit of a happy accident. I expected a few hundred people, not millions. And I couldn't be happier. My heart is overflowing, absolutely overflowing.
Yes, I was going to ask how it feels to have had such an overwhelming your idea.
It feels wonderful. It really does. It's humbling, and we've been working from a very much a space of collaboration because we're just citizens. I have a team of 7 other people involved in the admin of the page.
Okay.
One of which is a member of the first ever all-serving tri-military family in the ADF. So her father's Army, she was Navy, her brother was also Army, and her sister was Air Force, and they were all serving at the same time. All of my team members reached out to me on day one. I didn't solicit any help. It all happened so quickly that I didn't get an opportunity to before I received messages from my team members volunteering and actually almost begging for me to let them help. And they didn't have to beg. I was very welcoming of it. But it's been a huge collaboration. There's a number of other players that have been connected to this. An ex-brigadier named Bill Sowry, retired brigadier of Army, and Terry James, who's a warrant officer. They both had the very similar idea, which I discovered a few days after launching the page, and we've made a bit of an alliance since. In fact, they'll be doing a live stream interview on our Aussies and Kiwis for ANZAC's Facebook page tonight.
Oh wow, yeah, amazing, and it'll be how you capture what it looks like across the world. Are you hoping that people will take images and upload them onto your Facebook page, or how are you hoping to?
There's a few ways actually. So with the mobile app, and even outside of the mobile app, of course, people can post their photos to our group, or they can hashtag them. Hashtag ANZAC Day 2020. We've registered that hashtag, so anything that is tagged that way, we can identify and locate very easily. Obviously, the media. I've had a lot of connections with the media, and I put a post out to the members asking if anybody wanted to volunteer their street if they'd rallied their neighbours, and I've had a large response from that. So I've sent that all out to the media. And just 3 days ago, we partnered with a group who are running an event called Follow the Sun. They're based in Western Australia, and they're part of the Western Australian Tourism Board. They have a network of photographers and drone flyers all over the world who will be getting out into neighbourhoods with their drones, taking footage, and they've agreed that if we promote that on our page, they would happily give us access to all of that footage. So I'm expecting that we are going to be overwhelmed with people capturing their memories and their experience of the day.
Mm. Yeah, it was just a wonderful contribution from Ballarat to the world on this very unusual ANZAC Day, and it's just been, and well done, Justin. It's just fabulous.
I really can't take all of the credit. The one thing that I did that nobody else has had a part of is spending 30 minutes creating a Facebook group. From there on, it's been absolutely a team and collaborative effort on the part of many people, but primarily the team of admins that stuck their hand up.
Yeah.
They're working tirelessly around the clock. I actually argue with them about going to bed or spending some time on the sofa. Even when they're sick, they're like, no, I want to do this. So the passion, the commitment, the drive has been phenomenal. And we haven't even spent $2,000 in what we've done. The registration of a website was one of the most expensive components, and that was about $280. So it just goes to show what can be achieved with collaboration, with good intention, with a strong set of values, and the willingness to be altruistic and not monetize everything. It's something I've always believed was possible, and now I know that it's possible.
Yeah, it shows that our intentions and where we put our attention can be very powerful.
That's right. I think it speaks to a higher. I think there's a bigger conversation to come out of this as well, which is not just about ANZAC Day, but about our sort of national identity. Whether we want to see ourselves as the people that are fighting over toilet paper in the aisles, or the people who can come together in a really special and meaningful way, regardless of the restrictions that may be facing us. The ingenuity and the camaraderie, the mateship, the humour, the integrity, and all of those ANZAC values that are defined in legislation are shining through as a result of this movement. And I would like to remind everybody when this is done that is what Australia is. We're not
so I've just
we saw a month or so ago in the supermarket aisles.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I couldn't. I thought.
Are you breaking up there, are you, Lynn?
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I couldn't. I think what we'll do is, if you don't mind,
it is a little
Justin,
challenging when we have the technical difficulties, isn't it?
And we are sending out the recordings from each of the webinars, and when we get them, and when we're able, we're uploading those onto our website. So I think it would be very worthwhile, if you don't mind doing that. As I said, the outage in this area, and I didn't receive any information on it. But, apparently, Telstra has just decided they're working on something, and so my deep apologies. And I won't try and do the remote exercise because I'm just getting this terrible feedback all the time. But I would like to very much thank you, Justin, and for your wonderful idea and following through. Or, you know, we say compassion is seeing suffering, but they're taking action to alleviate that suffering. And so you were able to see, you know, what it would have meant to to people right around the world not to be able to come together to celebrate ANZAC Day, and took action to make that, you know, to make sure that they did get that opportunity. So thank you very much. And I would just like to, great. Apologies, everyone, and I would like to also announce that
Absolutely.
week. Stephen Falconer from the Bunnington District and Community Bank will provide us with some very useful tips on looking after our finances. So we'll be sending out a note in our newsletter about that. And yeah, and again, thank you so much, Justin. And if that's okay, I would really make a time, perhaps even tomorrow morning, for us to be able to re-record this or record this. Great. It's a great story. Yeah, we need to tell it and celebrate it as you know, as locals. Yeah.
Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Yeah, that's right. No, join the club. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well,
Born in
thanks
Ballarat.
to those people who have stayed with us, and we'll get that recording to you. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.